All right, we're off to a good start. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're very proud. We have 4 great combos for you tonight. They're all a little different. They're all creative musicians. We're very, very proud of these students that come to rehearsals twice a week and take it seriously. Many of these musicians are young improvisers, improvising for the first time this year, and they dive right in and are very brave and do a great job, and they always floor us with improvising really good phrases. Tonight, mostly you're going to hear world premieres. We've shaped these arrangements tailored for our students, and they've never been performed before. And first up, please welcome Girls Night Out. Did you guys tune yet? I told you to play a tuning note. Go ahead. all right. Hey, how about if we're heading out on the vocals? Riley Weed, whose birthday it is, on flute. Adriana Gojoyu on tenor sax, Karen Fukuda on guitar, and Audrey Watnick on the piano. Also, Bob and Leo, of course, our faculty accompanimists. Let's hear it again for that beautiful standard Brazilian samba. And I should take time right now to introduce you to our Jazz and World Music Coordinator, Cersei Miller, the hardest working, one of the hardest working because she picked out that tune and helped arrange that Stan Getz shout chorus you heard in the middle. And also, this combo loves Cersei so much, they named their combo after her girls' band she had back in the 80s, Girls Night Out. That's Cersei's band. She talks about it all the time. I'm not for the Girls Night Out. No, that's Cersei. They're going to continue with the medley. This is Armageddon, arranged by Miguel Zenon, who we had through residency 2 months ago. Fantastic player. We really learned a lot from him. We're going to go into a tune, a ballad, we learned from our own Chris Adams, who's in the house tonight. Thanks, Chris. The Duke Ellington's Song of Love by Charles Mingus.
Not a sound had from my soul, lost in blues, jazz and ragtime. No sound had got to
Thank you very much. Yeah. Beautiful. They're going to close with Fragile, a tune by Sting, who wrote it after 9/11. It's a sad song, but it's a good song to play for jazz improvisers to play on. And I want you to notice Audrey on her brand new keyboard. Play that first chord, Audrey. I warned you that might happen. Yeah, yeah. Girls right now, what do you say? Adriana, Riley, Karen, Audrey, and of course, Bob and Will. Beautiful set, way to go. I can't believe it's over. And also while we're still setting up, you heard that, I introduced the new piano, you heard those nice chords Audrey played. The introduction and the outro of Fragile, I want you to know that our drummer, Bob Sabine, wrote those chords. He's super talented at harmony and rhythm and melody and everything else, a really great teacher. Thanks so much. Let's hear it for Bob Sabine. That's Wendy One on violin, along with Isabel Luna, Aaron Kahn, Sophia Palaz, our violin section. On viola, Alex Teasley. On cello, Marina Escandal-Tapias. On guitar, Sandy Merrill. And on piano, Rachel Lee. How about those strings? And of course, along with Bob and Leo. They are going to close with a classic salsa tune by Willie Colon. This is Okay Sarah. We're going to feature Marina on the verse, because it's a male vocal lead, and she's the closest thing we have to a male vocal lead, the cello. Sharon, Sophia, Alex, Marina, Sandy, and Rachel. Thank you so much. Oh, great set. And we'll change the stage one more time. Yeah, please welcome the Rule of Thirds. That's Zoe Parrott on vocals, Teresa Hooker on flute, and Amy Tian on piano, along with Bob, of course. And they're going to start out with one of my favorite records, one of my favorite cuts from one of my favorite records, Confirmation, the Eddie Jefferson lyrics. You guys take it away.
Makes the music beat free. This may sound unstable, but I know I'm able to focus in song to you. My lyrics may be fast, sometimes the word will go past folks, but so I keep me swinging. I know I got to stay true. So like the bird, I'm gonna say the jazz is always on a happiness blue. So come on and I'll confirm it. It's certain the word that I heard made the word of confirmation.
much. They're going to put these next three kind of in a row as a medley. Mataderos is a Miguel Zanan song. And the second tune of this set, The Peacocks, is a beautiful ballad by Jimmy Rouse. Leo picked it out for us, thought it would be a good one for Zoe, and we all agreed. And one day, Zoe came into rehearsal and said, you know, Chris recorded this. We should listen to Chris's recording of this. We all found it on Spotify. Chris Adams recorded this Peacock song, and we were all on the floor. It was so beautiful, Chris. You gotta check out Chris Adams' recording of the Peacocks. You're welcome. Thank you. Really great. And we'll segue into the classic Chick Corea tune, Spain. Rule of thirds. Go ahead.
pathways far descending to the garden far below us, the pavilions in the sunlight, where the peacocks proudly graze the sea. A vision, a timeless place, another way of living. You moved in so close, I really thought that you were giving. I allow myself a moment to believe that you could leave me, to reflect upon what might have been. The summer sky I saw reflected in the color of your eyes, but somehow I could never peel away the layers of disguise. I'm drowning now, I'm slowly sinking in a sea of blue and green, where what you are is never seen. How can anybody know you? I still hear the ringing of a church bell in the morning, the peacocks still calling out their sad and bitter warning. A pretty tulip ocean blue, a single feather's falling roof, a mirage is all it's ever been.
Hoffman on flute. Well done, really good. That wasn't really at all, it was perfect. Along with Bob and Leo, of course. And I forgot to mention the Peacocks. You heard that ballad, you heard that beautiful introduction with flute and piano, and the outro to get into Spain with the beautiful chords that Amy played. That was all written by Bob Sabine. Thank you, Bob. Well, we set up for our last act. I want to thank some very special people. The chair of the music department at Wellesley College, Caleb Goldschmidt. Thanks for your leadership and taking us through some hard times. Also, the director of performance, Aliko Akahori, director of programming, Felicity Salmon, and our academic administrator, Dagny Von Marion. It's such a hard-working staff. And when you say the piano's broken, we need a new piano, they don't say, do you really need a new? They say, which piano do you want us to buy for you? It's fantastic. We really appreciate the support of the administration here. I want to thank Dan Fox, fixing the sound and making it all happen. I want to thank the private teachers of our students. Mimi Rapson did a great job with all those string players you heard. Chris Adams, I introduced before, was our great vocal teacher. Also, Russell Hoffman, Doug Johnson teach our pianists, along with Steve Marangone on drum, teaches our drummers, and Steve Kirby teaches guitar. And of course, one more time, how about it for Cersei Miller, the director of the Wellesley Big Band, who has a concert in this very hall 1 week from tonight. Yeah, we gotta be there. We're gonna be there. You guys are all set up and ready? Excellent. I had some more to say, but I'm not going to do it. I should have named this combo Clarice and the Polar Cats. I'm going to steal your line now. Do you know why they're the Polar Cats? They're cool. All right. Senior Blues. Go for it. That's Clarice Chen on piano and Lila Cooper on the congas. They're going to continue with the Great American Standard, Love Me or Leave Me. Anna picked out this arrangement from a Jerry Mulligan and Chet Baker recording. But we needed more than just trumpet and Barry sax. We needed more, so we grabbed elements from a Miles Davis, Sonny Rollins recording, an Ella Fitzgerald recording arranged by Nelson Riddle, and also a great recording by Lester Young. Is that considered a mashup when you take things like that? Or is it? I don't think I know what a mashup is. This is Love Me or Leave Me.
One, two, three.
Lila Cooper on drums. You know, some schools call this a jazz lab, and I always thought about that. We're supposed to wear lab coats. But now I know that we can do experiments on this music, and college is a great place to do it. There's a medley of just the two of us into Autumn Leaves. We're going to feature Angelica Mendoza Garcia on vocals. Leela Shapiro on guitar. Katie Cho on drums. And by the way, when you have an ensemble with two drummers, you know, there's only one drum set. So around January, the end of January, they're like, what are we going to do? Could I learn vibes? Do you think I could learn vibes, Mark? We have a vibe set. I could go get it. I could learn vibes if you want. These two are incredible. They were playing vibes for the first time in a concert tonight. How about it for Lila Cooper and James Shaw? All right, we'll get you in a second, Vicky. Oh, that's right. Vicky Wong plays a flute solo in Autumn Leaves. We're going to do the original French version, but as a rumba. I don't know if that's ever been done before. I'm sure this is a world premiere, a rumba sung in French. And Vicky's going to play a great flute solo, and I must tell you that Vicky also plays the baritone saxophone in the Wellesley Big Band. She's a multi-instrumentalist. And to impress you even further, she plays the second trombone part on Barry sax in the Wellesley Big Band. All right, just the two of us and the Autumn Leaves.
We love for love, no time for tears. Wasted water's all it is. We don't make no flowers grow. Good things might come to those who wait, not for those who wait too late. You gotta go for it all. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. Mais la vie, c'est comme ceux qui s'aiment tout doucement, sans faire de bruit. Et la mer efface sur le sable les pas des amants désunis.
And I want to introduce you to the hardest working man on the stage. He's been there all night holding it down for you. A great arranger, a great teacher, a really great bass player, and a super nice guy. Please get up for Leo McDonald. And we have one more tune for you. We want to bring out some very special guests. We want to celebrate our 4 seniors that are in the Blue Jazz Combos and make them work one more time. Yeah, come on out there. And while they're coming out, hey, Clarice, stand up. I want to tell them about you. Clarice is getting a degree next month in an economics major and a minor in statistics. She was very thrilled a couple weeks ago. She said, guess what? What? I got into MIT graduate program. She's going to study for a master's degree in economics. And then she kept saying, guess what else? What? They cross-register with Wellesley. I could be in combos next year. My first graduate student in combos. There you go. Hey, Karen. Thanks for coming out. So nice to see you. Karen is completing her degree in physics at Wellesley College. How about that? And is excited to continue working on developing optic systems after graduation. That sounds very difficult, very smart, very smart. Sandy Leo is a double major, graduating in computer science and music, and will be moving to New York to start her job after graduation. Now you're a double major and you have a job. Is it music or computer science?
It's not, none of them.
That's the way it goes sometimes. Fantastic. Amy Tien is a double major in media arts and sciences and music with a focus on digital media and experimental music. You have to check out our website, amytien.com. It's fantastic. All kinds of beautiful media, creative music, and such. She just told me, this is like late-breaking news, that she's going to spend the next year traveling the world as a Thomas J. Watson Fellow, exploring interactive textiles across cultures. That sounds incredible, Amy. Congratulations. As Sushi always says, once in blue jazz, always in blue jazz. So please come back and visit us. Congratulations to our seniors. We're going to put them to work one more time on The Kicker by Joe Henderson after I hand this mic to Anna.
We also have one more bouquet to give, and that's to our amazing director, Mark. Thank you for all the work you do for us. And now we'll play jazz again. One, two, three.
a full recital each a week from Sunday on April 27th. So come to Big Band next Friday and stay for the recital on Sunday. Thank you all for being here.